Howdy, who all my stock market gamblers? Welcome today. It's Monday. Stock market's open. I'm back from vacation. I'm Tall Mike. I'm so glad you're here. So what do we got going on? Well, we got an update. Dow's up about 100. NASDAQ's up about 100, but not so fast. What we got is a tug of war going on right now. Tug of war at the 50-day moving average. The S&P is at the 50-day moving average. The NASDAQ just jumped above the 50-day moving average. The Russell sitting right at the 50-day moving average. It's a tug of war. Are we going to get through the 50-day moving average, or are we going to have another flush coming? Well, I look for signs is what I look for, and I'm thinking that we're going to get another flush coming. Now, here's why. Once again, I talked about this last Monday, how the VIX was screaming that the market's going to go down. And last week, it went down for 4 days, and then it shot up on Friday. This week, I think we're going to have a similar down move. Okay, so the VIX right now, the puts and calls, if you type in the VIX and you look at the puts and calls for what's going to happen, this is a professional trading tool. And right now they're paying 3 times as much for the call is they're paying for the equivalent put. So in other words, professional traders think that the VIX is going to go up. The VIX is sitting right on its 50-day moving average also. It's a tug of war right here. Look at, if the VIX goes up, the market's going to come in. The VIX is a volatility index, and professional traders believe that there's going to be a big flush out of the market by the end of July. We're at July 18th right now. By the end of July, the next 12 days, they believe that the market's going to flush lower. And I would tend to agree with that. Now, does the VIX get it always right? No, of course not. It doesn't get it always right, but it's probably right about 80% of the time. I think we're going to get a flush down still to the 200-week moving average. And that's where opportunity is. That's where I'm going to be buying this market. That's where I want to get in at, because I think we're going to push this market higher. The second half of the year is going to be very good. Look at the first half of the year was the worst since 1970. Now, if you go back and look at 1970, it had a terrible first half, but it actually rebounded all of it in the second half. And I think we're going to do that here also. The reason being, we have a midterm election coming in November. And I think they're going to push this market up one more time before we get, oh my goodness, don't say it, but it's going to be a crash. It's going to be a big crash like you've never seen before. But I do think we're going to get a flush out here, and then that's the time to buy, and I think we're going to get a move higher. Right now, we got the tug of war. Maybe they get through the 50-day moving averages. If I see all the indexes sitting above the 50-day, I'll probably take my short position off. I put a short position on today. I put it on again on the SPY. I'm betting it to go down. I'm betting that we're going to get a flush again down to the 200-week moving averages, and that's where I want to be buying this market. That's where the opportunity is. We'll see how that all plays out. We'll see who wins this tug of war. The bulls and the bears are fighting it out right now. All right, so let's move on to the real estate market here. Now, the real estate market, well, I live in the Bay Area, and it seems like San Jose might be the epicenter for the start of the crash. Now, this crash is just getting started, but San Jose, California is down 5% month over month. Now, if you drop 5% a month, you do that for 10 months, you got a 50% crash. Now, people think that a 50% crash could never happen. Now, look it. Okay, now people used to think that about Bitcoin. It crashed 60%. The cryptos crashed 60%, right? They came down 60%. Look at the NASDAQ. It's already come down 30%. But the housing market is still unscathed, right? So people think that it cannot come down 50%. They use the common line that all those real estate agents will tell you. Well, Mike, they need somewhere to live. The housing market can't fall. I disagree with that. I believe the housing market can fall by 50%. Now, I want to go and revisit my conversation with my good friend Bob, not to be confused with Billy Bob. Now, Bob, he's a retired guy, well-to-do, made his money in the tech industry. Now, he lives in a $3 million home in Cupertino, and he's got another place up in Lake Tahoe that's worth over $1 million. So he's very invested in these real estate. Now, he always asks me how I think the real estate estate market's doing. And he doesn't want to hear the answer because I tell him I think it could come down half. And he's telling me, well, Lake Tahoe could never come down half because it's undervalued. Well, I agree. Lake Tahoe is a very beautiful place. I love going to Lake Tahoe, but undervalued, I don't think so. Not for what the average job wage makes in Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe is extremely overpriced. All of the money for Lake Tahoe comes from Silicon Valley here in the tech industry. Now, what's happening with these tech companies? Well, these tech companies are starting to crash. Many of them are already down 50%. But a lot of the people that work for these tech companies, they have what's known as stock options. That's how they get paid. That's how they get their big bonus money. And these stock options are down 60, 70%. Some of them have gone to zero because options can go to zero, you know. I mean, they're just not worth any money when they're too far underwater. So a lot of these tech companies are what's driving the market down. Now, he thinks his Cupertino house cannot go down. I love Cupertino. Great area, but I do think it can go down. San Jose, which is kind of right next door to Cupertino, dropping at a rate of 5% a month already. Well, that's dropping, right? That could creep over to the Cupertino market, to the Saratoga market. These are the rich markets in my area. But San Jose down 5% month over month. All right, well, let's think about this. Now, if you went back just 3 months, just go back 3 months, right? You got people in San Jose buying $2 million houses. All right, and that's the market value. But they're overbidding. They're overbidding by 10%. A $2 million house, they might be selling for 2.2 because of the bidding wars that were going on just 3 months ago. So they bought, whoever won that bidding war bought that house. Let's say they bought it for $2.2 million and the market value is at $2 million. So they overpaid by 10%. But we just got a 10% drop. Well, 5% month over month. But San Jose, believe me, is already down about 10%. And if you take 10% off of that $2 million, it's worth about 1.8. And that's if they could sell it. I mean, they have to find a buyer at 1.8. So they bought up here at 2.2 million. Now, how much did they put down? Let me think. They put down probably right around 20%, probably about 400,000. Let's say they put 400,000 down, right? And they paid 2.2 million. And right now people are trying to sell these at 1.8 million. Well, they're already underwater because there's a real estate fee on top of that to get out, right? It's going to cost them about 6, 7, 8% to sell that house. And so they're $400,000. It's already wiped out. Now, would you be a little bit sad if that was you? I'd be a little bit sad if I just made that mistake of buying at the top. Now, if you bought at the top, I feel sorry for you. But if you don't have to buy, I would wait. I would hold back. I would hold off. That's just my opinion. But the market is coming down. And in San Jose, where it's all starting right here. Anyways, down 5% month over month. Price reduction, price reduction, price reduction, price reduction. The buyers have disappeared because they all worked in the tech company. Their stock options have gone down. They don't have the money. They don't have the down payment. They don't have the cash flow to support the mortgages at these rates. Look, it's changed. The market's changed. Now, I know in your area it only goes up. I know in your area it couldn't go down. It couldn't be like the NASDAQ. It couldn't be like the cryptocurrencies. It's going to stay up forever and it's going to double from here. I get all that. Okay, but in my area, it's coming down. And I think that creeping crud might hit your area because we talk about it. Look at people that sell their house here. They might be moving to your area and they might be buying a house in your area, but they can't buy a house in your area because they can't get the house here sold. So this takes away a buyer from your area and pretty soon your area runs out of buyers also and then your area starts to go down. It's just how it works. Well, that's all I really wanted to talk about today. I mean, this has nothing to do with the stock market. I'm just going to talk a little bit about my trip to Nebraska. Look at the travel industry, the airline industry is completely broken. It's completely broken. I left here at 5 in the morning on Tuesday. I arrived in Nebraska at 10 at night on Wednesday. What happened? Well, my flight to Phoenix, where I had a connection to meet with Perfect. No problem. So I'm there early. Okay, so my connection's coming in an hour. I'm all happy, right? Well, it gets delayed for 4 hours, for 4-hour delay. No problem. I got time. I'll get to Nebraska eventually and see my mom. Her 99th birthday celebration. It was great. Loved it. All right. But anyway, so the plane, I wait 4 hours delayed. They load us onto the plane, right? They load us onto the plane. I'm sitting there. I'm ready for takeoff. We're headed to Nebraska, right? Well, let me tell you, all of a sudden they said we have to get off the plane, take all your belongings and get off the plane. I'm like, well, what's going on? What's going on? Well, after we got off the plane, they canceled the flight. Do you know why they canceled the flight? They canceled the flight because they didn't have a pilot to fly the plane. Now, I have a private pilot license. I told them I'd give it a whirl, but they weren't up for that. But anyways, what I'm saying is, how do they not know they don't have a pilot when they're putting the passengers onto the plane? I don't get it. So anyways, here's what happens. They will pay for your motel room to stay overnight. So they pay for my motel room. They pay for the taxi both direction to and from. I stayed at the Hilton. Very nice place. Phoenix, Arizona. Recommended. 2 thumbs up. All right. So they pay for that. Now the airlines, they have to be losing money on this. I looked at, maybe it's time to short the airlines. They're already down a lot, but they're losing money because they have to pay for the motel room now, right? So, okay. So I still got to get to Nebraska. Now the next day, there's only one flight out of Phoenix on all the airlines that goes to Nebraska. One flight a day. Well, guess what? That flight sold out. Well, what are you going to do for me? Oh, we're going to send you down to Dallas, Texas. Oh, that's fine. I like Dallas. All right. Fly me down to Dallas, Texas, and then they're going to fly me up to Omaha, Nebraska from there. Well, of course, that one was delayed 4 hours. I got in at 10 o'clock that night. Anyways, that's where I said, hey, happy birthday, Mom. I made it by 2 hours. All right, so I stayed the next day, and then I had to leave the day after that. I left on Friday. Didn't get to stay that long, but enjoyed my time with my mom, right? So, okay, on the way out, I'm supposed to go through Phoenix again, but guess what? I'm delayed 3 hours. Well, that's 2 hours late for my connection flight from Phoenix to SFO. So what do they have to do? They fly me down to Dallas again. I get on the plane. That one's delayed another 4 hours, but it does make it into SFO. I think I got it all made, right? I'm in SFO. Well, not so fast, not so fast. There's a bomb. There's a bomb in one of the terminals. That's what they say. We don't have a place to bring the plane into to disembark because there's a bomb. They had a terminal that was evacuated. Traveling is broken right now. You know how much a rental car was in Lincoln, Nebraska? Well, actually, it was Omaha to get to Lincoln, Nebraska for 3 days. A Toyota Corolla. And nothing against the Toyota Corolla. That's fine. But it was $600 for 3 days. That's ridiculous. Anyways, I went on a little rant here. But I made it back and I missed you guys. I'm so happy to be back. I don't know if you guys can tell that. I really am happy to be here. If you like this, give me the thumbs up. Give me the thumbs up even if you don't, because I earned it this time. Get out there. Have a great Monday, everybody, and we'll talk again real soon. Bye-bye now.